Hi, I'm Professor Shanky. Welcome to another tech tutorial. So last time we created a simple query with a single table, and we looked at how we can kind of filter and sort the data that's coming out that we're projecting. I want to show you how to actually use more than one table. So we want to actually add another table. Let's look at the order table. So if I come up here, I click Show Table, and I have my customer. I want to also add the order. So if I click on Add and hit Close, now it automatically guessed that there's a relationship between customer and order because I have the same field name here. And it's absolutely correct. One customer, which is that one, can have many orders. And that means that this is always a unique customer, but I can have multiple customer IDs in the order. So that's exactly what I wanted. So what I have now is I have that relationship between these two tables, and I can now pull down and use tables for my order. So if I come down here and order date, I'm going to select order date. I have last name, first name, and order date. So I'm going to go ahead and hit run. And you'll see now I have last name, first name, and order date. And if you remember, I had quite a few people in my table, but I'm only showing 2 results. Is that expected? Why? So I'm going to go back to my design view and just double check. I have no criteria, so I'm not filtering anything out. Create date's hidden, that doesn't matter. I'll go ahead and show create date, and let's run this again just to show you. Create date, yeah, that doesn't matter. So I still only have 2. What's going on? Why is it only showing me 2 results? Let's look at our tables. Let's look at the order table. So I still have it up. So the order table itself, look at that. I only have 2 orders in my system. An order date of 6/8 and 6/9 with customer ID 1 and 2. Go back to my query, come up to the design view, run it, and look at that. The order date of 6/9 and 6/8. So for some reason, it's only showing me all of the orders and all the customers that are associated with those orders. Probably it's because if I come in here to my relationship, I have some join property that is affecting that. And if I right click on that and go to properties, I can see right here the default option is only include rows where the join fields from both tables are equal. So that's showing me only records that meet the criteria of being in both tables. Sometimes that's great, sometimes we don't really care. In this case, I want to run a report that shows me all of my customers, right, that have placed an order or not. I don't care. And that's option 2, include all records from customer. So I hit OK, and I run it now, and you'll see now I have all my customers, and if they place an order, it shows me the order date. Great. So that's how we can change design view or join properties. That's how we can change what our join is like and how we can figure out what results are going to be pulled out. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. I'm going to keep this here because I would like to look at this view and show you a little bit more about the criteria and this special value that we have. It's called null, N-U-L-L. In databases, there are 2 things that are very similar but are quite distinct. One is an empty string. In other words, I can have a text or a string that has nothing in it, but it still exists. That's called an empty string. I also have this concept of null, which means doesn't exist. There's nothing there at all. It's not an empty string. It's different. And we use it by just saying null. And if I come here and I would say I want to look at all the customers who haven't ordered anything, right? So If I look at this, I want to see just Janelle, Jason, Charles, Belinda, and Shanice, because they haven't ordered anything. And let's say I want to send them a reminder, hey, you haven't ordered anything. Here's a coupon or something like that. How do I find those? So let's go back to design view. And the order date, I want that to be null, right? So I can simply say is null, N-U-L-L. And that is null means is nothing or doesn't exist. So hit run there, and I see there are my people with no order date. So again, is null is different than an empty string. And we can use null for any data type because null, again, means nothing. So let's go back to design view. And I can also say is not null. Is not null means it does exist. And I'll see just the opposite. So is null and is not null are two handy tools to be able to look at your database and figure out what's there, and what's not there. Now, another cool technique that you can use, especially with dates, strings are fun, but dates, there's a lot of cool things we can do. So if I come here, I'm going to go back to my criteria, and let's do build. So build gives me an expression builder that helps me look at more advanced functions if I don't remember all the functions that are built in, and I don't. There's a lot of them. So what you should probably do is know what you want, and then this expression builder will help you find it. So I know I'm working with date times, and here's a bunch of different expression values. I want to build this query to say, only show me people who have ordered something in the past day, right? So maybe this is for my picking inventory. What was purchased yesterday, right? So let's say where that is greater than now, minus 1. So because now is today's date, I can do minus 1 to go back 1 day. So hit OK. Greater than now minus 1, and I run this. And there's 2 of them, which is created on today and yesterday. Let's say is greater than today. Run. There's only 1 returned. Let's show a advanced filter or criteria that uses fields from both tables. Now let's say you're looking at your metrics of your customers, and you want to see all the customers that place an order within the first 2 days of becoming a customer. So in other words, they signed up as a customer and they bought something within the first 2 days. So how would I go about doing that? Now I could write it here manually, but if I don't know all the functions that I need, I have this great expression builder tool. So just right click and come down here to build. And build shows me all of the different functions, queries, anything that I can use. So I know it's a function. I don't know exactly what function, but I know it is a function and it's built into Access, and this just helps list all the functions that exist. So I'm working with date time. So date time, and here we go, date diff, right? The number of intervals between 2 specified dates. That looks good to me. So when I click that, it comes up here and it says date diff, and these double arrows are temporary holders, so it means you've got to replace the interval with a value. So if I come down here to date diff, I click on this, it's going to bring up the help. It's going to open up in a web browser, which you're not going to see right now, but it'll tell you exactly what it means by interval. So the interval here is going to be some text that says, is it going to be weeks, days, month, year, quarter, whatever I want. So I'm going to take this and I want days, right? So lowercase d for days. What is my first date? So the first date is actually going to be create date. Create date. And now I need to put my square brackets around it so it knows that's going to be a field. And my date 2, move this over a little bit more, is order date. And that's all that I really need. So I don't need the first day of week or first day of year. Those are optional. And I know that by looking at the help. So this function here, if I want that to be less than 3, so 1 or 2. And I hit OK. And now we'll put that, okay, here's my criteria. And if I run it, we should get some results. And I only have one result, which is Bob Smith, who became a customer on 6/8 and ordered on 6/8. So there you go. So date diff, go back to zoom on this. So the date difference in days between the two dates is less than 3 for Bob. So to prove, I'm going to go ahead and just delete that for now and run it again. So I had Jane Smith, and she was a few months out, so that is correct. Only Bob Smith should have been returned and was. So there you go. That's kind of how you can do some more advanced queries. One other thing I'll show you real quick is the use of wildcards and the OR statement. So if I look at last names, and I just want to see everyone with the last name of Green, I hit run and I have Green Janelle. But maybe I want to do a special for whatever reason, and you only want to see everyone with the last name of G. So how would I do that? You know, you might think, well, let me just do G. It's not going to return anything, because when you put these in quotes, it returns exactly what is there. So it is an exact match. Now, case doesn't matter with Microsoft Access, so lowercase, uppercase, it doesn't care. But if it's in quotes, it has to match exactly. So we have this other criteria that we can use called like. So we've seen greater than, less than, equal, but like, L-I-K-E, means it's like that. It's not an exact match. And when I say like, I can actually use wildcards. So I have two at my disposal. I have the asterisk, which is Shift 8, or the question mark. Now the asterisk I'm going to use now means any number of characters. So what this says is like, quote, G, asterisk, quote. So it should give me all the last names that start with G. I hit run, and I have Green and Grumbine. So let's say, go back to design view, and let's look at first names. I'm going to do like J, star. There's all the first names that start with the letter J. Now I could put in more. So let's go back to design view. And let's say I do J-A-N, asterisk. So remember before I had Janelle, Jason, and Jane. They all start with the letter J. Now I want first names to start with J-A-N star. And I have just Janelle and Jane. Now, let's say I can be a little more specific. And instead of using the asterisk, I want the question mark. And I can do J-A question mark, question mark. What do you think that'll do? So asterisk is anything. A question mark is specific character. Could be anything. So if I run this, I only get Jane. Why? Because I have two question marks. That means the next two letters can be anything. If I did J-A question mark, it's looking for a 3-letter J-A in any letter, and nothing will return. So the difference between those question mark and the asterisk is asterisk means anything, question mark means just one character. So let's go back here and look at our table. I got a bunch of first names with J's, B's, C's. let's look at this. Let's look at all of the people with a last name of Smith and Green. I want Smith and Green. How do I do that? So Smith and Green. All right, you think that'll work? So let me go ahead and hit run here. It doesn't. Why not? Well, what that's trying to do is show me everyone that is both Smith and Green at the same time. And we don't have anyone with the last name of Smith and Green, but we do have Smith or Green, and that's what the or means. And I can have multiple. So by doing Smith or Green and run it, it shows me all the Greens and all the Smith. Now I can also come here and do multiple criteria. I can do first name and last name, where it's Green or Smith, and it's like J. So I have anyone that first name starts with J and last name of Green or Smith. So that's how we use some of the more advanced features in Microsoft SQL queries. And of course, always remember when you're done creating a query, you got to save it. Because right now, it's just temporary. It doesn't really exist, hasn't been committed to the database. Like everything in a database, once you make a change, unless you're working with the field values themselves, you got to save it. So when you're done, just hit save, give it a name, and we'll call this customer's first name starts with J. And there you go. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos. I'm Professor Shanky, and I'll see you next time.